The country, we just can't agree. We just fight about everything. We can't even agree on Black Lives Matter. That's a controversial statement. Black lives matter. Not matters more than you, just matters. Matters.
I've watched a lot of movies and a lot of TV and played a lot of games this year. But when it comes to which one deserves praise or a platform to be discussed, what matters?
Matters.
If 2020 was an all-time low for box office earnings and economic growth, then 2022 was an all-time low for creative storytelling. We had every sequel everyone's been waiting for, Multiverse of Madness, the sequel to WandaVision except no Vision, you had Love and Thunder, the first sequel of the Thor series, you have Maverick, a sequel no one thought would need it, but they did. The most profitable film of 2020 has a sequel, Sonic the Hedgehog. We got a sequel to Rogue One in TV form, and a sequel to Revenge of the Sith in TV form, and the sequel to Dark Souls 3 in George R. R. Martin form, and the sequel to Dad of War. But to keep this video manageable and not a complete waste of your time, I'm going to just stick to movies, and I'm going to reward more points for movies that came out this year, but that may not help at all. Woo-wee, the speed, the music, the reference to Tony Scott, the throwback to 80s homoerotic scene.
They're saying, no, go the gay way, be the gay way, go for the gay way.
I don't give a fuck if you're straight, gay, lesbian, bi, pan, demi, Asian. This is a hot scene that you don't even realize was a pickup because they shot this scene already. Then Tom Cruise was like, nah, that shit was garbage. And the entire cast was like, oh God, we just ate a whole bucket of fried chicken and drank all this beer. And they made this scene anyways. Like I said, the year of sequels, except this sequel was the sequel that no one wanted. When Avatar released in 2009, up until this year, I was the biggest hater. Then every CGI monstrosity came afterwards, with few exceptions, and you got to sit back and think, well, if all blockbusters are just the same hot white dude and white woman, and bombastic action with so much CGI you can't even tell what's what do they even say? What do they even mean? I'm not just talking about hero saves the day or team saves the world, but what are they about? At least Jimmy Cams here tries to discuss the importance of our environment. And now you might be asking, Tom, why would I want that when I can get that in a documentary? Then I'll say, my boy, those docs aren't making the big headlines and part of $1 billion franchise. Dragon Ball Z GT Superman Superheroes. Since the beginning of the year 41 of the Divine Calendar, Piccolo has been the greatest character of all time. The original redemption arc. In many ways, after the Red Ribbon Army, Goku's first nemesis. Then this dude has to raise his enemy's child. Do you know how epic and Shakespearean that is? Of course you don't, because we all love Vegeta and his Majin arc, and Zuko and his arc. But Dragon Ball Superhero says, fuck that shit, let's go back to the fun and wacky storytelling Toriyama was known for in Dragon Ball. Instead of the pure power creep and introducing new characters, this film puts Gohan and Piccolo in the front seat. And then we also get some new characters. We all know Goku and Piccolo getting their driver's license was the cinematic event of the century, and they do it again with Piccolo babysitting. It's beautiful. And then they throw new forms, which is kind of cool. The Harder They Fall is a fresh take into the classic Western revenge story that centers on potential of featuring stories that centralize around black characters. Almost like Blade, there is no cooler way to tell this story. The style, cinematography accentuates the performances this rock star cast delivers. Every line of dialogue is dripping with character and history. Every character has their own edges and is unique without being typecast into the smooth talker, the acrobat, or the boring leader. Everyone here is just the smooth talker. In 2021, Nicolas Cage was in a film called Pig, and a lot of people will write it off as John Wick but a pig. And they'd be right. But we can dive deeper because there is this one scene. And this scene alone was better than 90% of every film that came out in 2021. The menu takes that scene and slaps Ready or Not into it. Maybe not the splashiest of films, and most inarticulate audiences will just say, it was fun, aka the worst review ever known to man. But there is a pointed message about creativity, consumerism, and fulfillment. There's so much noise nowadays about what should be considered good or bad, and the menu has something to say on how we complicate those things, because it does matters. The dark humor but good conscience of the salt of the earth people take us on a ride of survival and understanding how foolish we are to take away the joy of what fulfills us. It's a balance of artistry and accessibility in food and film. This year had so many sequels, Ty West said, fuck you, how about a prequel instead? X is a well-made film of the same story we've seen and can predict with our eyes closed. Pearl is the origin story of a main character. What? Who greenlit this? How does this even get made? The last time this was ever a thing was Wonder Woman getting her origin film after Batman vs. Superman, or Black Widow after 8 million movies with her in it. That is the weirdo cool risk that I am all about. We all know how Pearl is going to end, yet we stay with it, wanting to indulge in that negative arc about this woman who simply wanted to be loved. By everyone. No matter what. Darren Aronofsky might be the greatest director for actors in all time. I remember when I was a child seeing Natalie Portman in Attack of the Clones, and that's when puberty started for me. I was thinking she was an angel. Then becoming a teen and seeing V for Vendetta and not knowing Agent Smith was the hero. Then Natalie Portman disappeared when the Fire Nation attacked. Then she returned in Black Swan, the perfect blue but live-action movie. But a performance that earned her the Oscar. She hides away and covers it with a cloth. This is exactly what's happening with Brendan Fraser. The Whale, based on a play, is a tear your heart open kind of movie. The greatest strength is how it never victimizes Charlie and his character. It makes you think twice about that phrase, how everyone is battling something. So we should just be kind. No one person is without fault, regret, and mistakes. Charlie is the living embodiment of pain and the results of his pain winning. Yet he never asks for pity, but apologizes to the people that enabled his life circumstances. Of course, numbskulls will say this is an endorsement or condemnation of obesity, when the substance of the film is to relearn how to see beyond the pain and hurt we so evidently express. Swords and sandals is a theme of action films, probably most popularized by the 1981 film Clash of the Titans. I think a film that finally gave the female audiences something to give a shit about was Wonder Woman. Literally, the guy that helped make this line happen, "This is Sparta!" gave that treatment to Amazons with Patty Jenkins. But now here we are, we have real life versions with Woman King. I walked into the theater, alone, as always, not knowing what I was going to get. Was this going to lean closer to black excellence like Black Panther? A true but real story of pain like 12 Years a Slave or Color Purple? Nope, none of it. There is a layer of engagement that washes through you as you see the violence of this outfit of soldiers wipe out a rival kingdom and save their people, as well as be subject to slavery. I know there's a ton of revisionist history happening, which is actually just makes it a regular Hollywood adaptation, like most films on this list. Tokyo Godfathers. People often ask questions like, is Die Hard a Christmas movie? Is Nightmare Before Christmas a movie with Christmas in its name? A Christmas movie? What I'm asking is why none of you motherfuckers have Tokyo Godfathers in the top of your Christmas movies to watch each year. God damn! This is the most Christmas movie of all time. That is, if you're not a child that needs sleigh bells and Santa in your movies. I think in many ways this stands with the iconic classic like It's a Wonderful Life due to the fact that it really appeals to those with holiday blues and tries to express how even the most unlikely people can inspire us to be giving and be kind to our fellow humans. When you know what I'm saying? I've been pretty depressed about life, my career choices, and the trajectory of the film industry. Then, out of nowhere, Everything Everywhere All at Once grabbed me by my love handles and hugged me. There was screaming and crying and laughing throughout this entire movie. I have never seen a film put so much on the line. When you think of A24, you think of Uncut Gems and Hereditary and all these other art house films. Everything Everywhere All at Once says no. It's not about gritty indie films, it's about good storytelling that somehow breaks the mold, even for smaller studios that can have bombastic action, huge stories about multiverses, and still tell a moving story about who we are and how our pain transcends to the next generation. That is what puts A24 on the top of everyone's to-be-like studio. All their films have this in common, and I know so many people talk so much praise about this film, it's almost as intoxicating, but it really is the film that made it for 2 years of bleak and bankrupt theater-going experiences. It slaps toxic masculinity with the kung fu punch, but then turns around and kills it with kindness and hope. What an incredible film. Something that inspires even the most jaded of movie nerds like me. Which is why I'm also going to take a leap and jump the shark and say, actually, the number one film of the year is Zack Snyder's Justice League, baby. Zacky Snyder, the greatest superhero blockbuster you never the Snyderverse, baby. Batman with the redemption, Superman, Resurrection. Zacky Snyder, Justice League, baby.
Matters.